Are people really buying cards at 30 or 40% over market? That's insane. There's just no way. Well, if they are, they do it all the time, and I want to tell you how you can make that happen on your store. But what's up, everyone? My name's TJ. I run a Pokemon card business called PokePaster TCG, where I buy and sell lots and lots of Pokemon cards. And in this channel, I help you hopefully do the same, and also I get to document my journey into this crazy cardboard world. I'm talking into a microphone, and there's cards all over this office. But before we get going, I've got to give away this. Last week, 2 weeks ago, was Easter, and this is our RCSV figure collection. Arceus isn't really like Pokemon Jesus, but he's kind of like the creator, like Pokemon guy. I don't know. It seemed to tie in with the Easter thing, so I'm giving this away in this video, and the winner is Aaliyah2468. Fancy editing, I'll pop that up somewhere here. Aaliyah2468, congratulations. Hit me up on Instagram or email me, pokepastertcg@gmail.com, and I will get your shipping info and ship this box to you. I love giving away boxes. Yeah, that's pretty sick. I love making videos. Thank you guys so much. Anytime you watch a video, if you leave a like on the video, if you comment, if you're subscribed to the channel, it does help me and let me know, and also let the algorithm know that it should show this video to other people in the Pokemon space. But this is simply just a pastor who sells Pokemon cards yapping in his basement. But today I want to talk to you about pricing. That's maybe the number one common question I've gotten from you guys is like, how do you price your cards? How expensive? How cheap? All those things. And so hopefully in this video I'm going to answer that question for you and show you, because there are a lot of different things depending on where you are in your business, depending on what your inventory looks like, that dictate what you should price your cards at. So we're just gonna hop right in. And so the first thing I'd say is on TCGplayer, they have it split up into like different levels, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And the goal is to get to level 4. Level 4 is really when you get to start, I would say really when you get to start making money on TCGplayer. Everything before that, you're just trying to get there. So if you're like trying to get this off the ground and you're level 1, 2, or 3, I would just recommend pricing everything as low as you can so that it sells. Even if you're breaking even on cards and you're not making money at all, like that's fine. It's not really about making money until you get to level 4 anyways. And I know that's lame. I know it feels like you're working for free, but it's just you're grinding and putting in the time so that you can make money. You don't necessarily have to be making money until you're level 4 anyways. So I would just price it to TCGplayer low. So be the lowest listing on TCGplayer for that particular card until you get rolling. Then you can list your card at market or above market, as I'll explain shortly. But once you get to level 4, you have to ask yourself a question: is do you want to become a pro seller or not? Now, pro seller is something that's only available to level 4 sellers, and you get to opt into the program. And if you do opt in, you're essentially forfeiting another 2% in fees to TCGplayer, saying like, hey, TCGplayer, you're going to take another 2% of every sale that I make. And what do you get in return? Well, you get access to really two tools that are helpful for you. One of them is mass price. Now, this is the big one. This lets you create rules for all of the cards that you have listed on your store, and you can get as specific as you want. Sometimes I wish there were some things you can do that you're unable to, but that's maybe a topic for another video. But it lets you be like, okay, I want all of my cards from this specific set to be priced at 15% over market, or I want all of my Japanese cards to be set at 2% over market, or man, I want to get rid of these One Piece cards as quick as I can because I hate sorting them. I'm going to list them at 2% under market to just get rid of all of them. However you want to set your prices, it lets you do that, and you don't have to like go in and manipulate each card or each listing. It's really slick, but again, that comes at a cost of 2% of every sale that you make. So you have to ask the question, is it worth it? Do you have a big enough inventory that would justify that? And I think for a lot of people, the answer to that question is no, and it's not that big of a deal to just go in and manually change all of your prices. And for some people, the answer to that question is yes, like it really does save you time. And there are ways that you can manipulate the price in Excel sheets and things like that. And there are other programs people have came up with. And so again, it's a decision that you can make. I'm a pro seller. I use those tools. The other thing that you get access to is the this is the pro seller site, which means that you get a link that you can essentially have your inventory listed on, where if people buy from that link, you pay less in fees because it's buying directly from you. So it kind of lets you have your own website per se. I don't do a ton of volume of sales on there, but sales come through like every so often, so that's kind of nice. But I would say that's secondary to the mass price tool. But I think TCGplayer could improve the pro seller site in the future, which would be, that would be very cool. Okay, so whether or not you do mass price, these are the questions that I think you should ask yourself, and this will help you determine what you should set your pricing at, because I can't give you an exact like, hey, set your pricing here. I can tell you what I do, but really it comes down to where you are in your business journey, where you are on the platform. And the number one question you have to ask yourself is, how much inventory do you have? Because the more inventory, the more different cards that you have listed, the higher you can get away with having your prices. And I'll explain what I mean. When you become a level 4 seller, you get access to turning off your shipping fees. Now I know that sounds weird. When you set your shipping fees to 0, this isn't like super explicitly laid out on the platform, or at least it wasn't for me. I got really confused. But basically how it works is you get to level 4, you go into your shipping settings, and you make sure it all says 0. What that's going to do is anytime someone has an order from you that's under $5, even though you have your shipping fees at 0, it will automatically charge them $1.31 to ship the card, because that's just like the automatic baked in shipping fee, even though yours is set to 0. If people order over $5 of stuff from you, they will no longer have to pay shipping. So what it does is it really, really, really incentivizes buyers to put together shopping carts that are over $5 in value to get the free shipping. So oftentimes I'll have, I think what people do is they get to $5 just to get the free shipping. So they'll have a card that's $3 and they're like, well, I could pay $1.31 in shipping, or I could just add a $2 card and then I get shipping for free. That happens all the time. And so because of that, especially if you have a lot of lower end cards in your inventory, people are constantly going to be adding things together to get over that $5 threshold, even if they can buy an individual one of those cards cheaper from another seller. They will buy it from you because they're trying to get that free shipping, because there's like a cart optimization tool as a buyer on TCGplayer where it's trying to get them the best deal. And sometimes the best deal per card is to buy from you, even if your prices are more expensive, if that makes sense. And oftentimes people want things to come in the same package. They don't want to deal with getting like multiple envelopes from multiple people, especially people who are like putting together sets or putting together decks or putting together just things for their collection. They want to get those from the same seller, so they don't have any issues paying a little more for the convenience of it coming from the same reliable seller who has good feedback, who has good ratings. So the more inventory you have, the higher you can have your prices, because the more inventory you have, the more likely it is that people are going to be put in those scenarios to want to combine items at your store. So for instance, if you just have like 10 or 15 cards listed, it's probably going to be really hard to get over market for some of those cards. But if you have 10 or 15,000 cards listed, you're gonna, if you had your cards, if you had 10 or 15,000 cards listed and you had everything set to market price, you would be slammed with orders. You wouldn't even be able to keep up with it. Like, there's just no way you could handle that. Which brings me to the next question. How quickly do you want things to move, and how quickly can you handle things moving? If you build up a nice inventory and you're trying to tweak your prices to what's gonna work for you, you have to ask yourself the question of like, hey, if a lot of these cards sell, can I handle the volume of sales coming in? How many cards, how many orders can I realistically ship out in an evening? I know for me, there are a lot of times where, and this is kind of where I hopped in the direct program again, because in the direct program, you don't ship out cards, TCGplayer ships out cards. Anyways, I'm more talking about like just regular TCGplayer selling in this video. But I got to a point where it's like, I had my prices like 30% over market for cards under $20, and I was still sometimes doing 80, 90, a couple times 100 orders in an evening, and that was like too much for me. I would say I kind of cap out in an evening after I put the kids to bed, which is like I'm probably back downstairs at like 7:30, 7:45, and I usually try and go to bed at like 11. I could probably do 60 orders, 70 orders. So I needed to continue to raise my prices just to slow things down. And so that's the question to ask you. Are you able to handle the sales volume that your current prices are giving you? Because if you can, then maybe, and if margins are still there, remember, shooting for 15 or 20% profit margins, that's great to shoot for. So if you're still able to hit that and you're able to drop your prices to increase the velocity that sales are going out, then that's probably worth considering. And then what's reasonable? Cards that are more liquid, you are going to have a better chance or a better opportunity to have a markup on those cards. Let me give you a couple examples. Pheasantipity EX, regular EX card from Shrouded Fable. That's an incredibly playable card. Most people have at least one, will have one copy in their deck. That card is like, I think $8, $9, $10. If you list that at market price today, it's probably going to be gone, right? Badu from Prismatic Evolutions, really playable card, cheaper card. If you list that at market price, it's probably going to be gone. Compared to some random reverse holo from Sword and Shield, which sells a lot less. You can go on the TCGplayer platform. It'll tell you how many sell in a day. If that one has like 2 sales a week, it's more unlikely that you're going to be able to get a lot of sales for that at under market. But one thing to keep in mind when it comes to selling or just having a business, being a retailer in general, you don't need to have everything sell out instantaneously. In fact, sometimes holding on to things for 2, 3, 4 months, if it means you're going to get better profit margins, is okay as long as you don't need the capital ASAP. So if you really like every time you just want to like churn and burn and get rid of it as quick as possible, that's fine and do that. But there's nothing wrong with being a retailer that holds on to your inventory for a few months. You know, even like, I mean, some retailers are like, hey, I want to completely overturn my inventory like twice a year. So hopefully stuff sells like once, like hopefully stuff sells every 6 months. Like it just depends. How quickly are you going to need the capital, or how long are you okay to hold on to it for? For cards that are, I would say, like the distinction that I make are higher end cards are cards that are over $20. So anything over $20, I pretty much am not going to do like a huge markup on, because I still want them to be like relatively liquid. So I might go like, I've gone up to like 10% over market on cards over $20. I've gone down to 5% over market. Right now, I think I'm just doing like a flat like $4 over market on cards over $20. And you're like, wow, are cards actually selling? Yes, they are. Now, not all of them, not all on the same day, but they do sell over time at that price. And then for cards under $20 right now, you can do 20% over market, 15% over market, 10% over market. If you have a smaller inventory, you can just do market depending on when you pick up your, depending on the price that you pick up your collections at. And then to be honest, in the direct program, that's like a whole different ballgame, because in the direct program, you're paying a lot more in fees. For instance, like every sale in the direct program under $3, you're paying 50% in fees. So then it's like, you really have to jack the prices up to make it worth it. Like that's a whole separate can of worms. But if you are just selling on the platform, you're not in a direct program, like TLDR, like what should I set my prices at? What I would do for cards under, I would set your prices for cards over $20 at just a few percentage over market. And then for cards under $20, I would do like 15 to 30% above market. And if that's too slow for you, lower your prices and you'll watch the sales increase. And if that's too fast for you, raise the prices. It all comes down to you need to be flexible with it. You want to be making money. You want to be hitting your minimum profit margins. For me, I want to be making at least 15% on every sale. But if the volume is going too quick, then I can raise my prices. So that's the really cool thing about Mass Price or a tool like that, is it lets you be like, like orders seem pretty slow. I can lower things, I can raise things, but also the market impacts those things. Sometimes when the market is red hot, you want to keep prices high because eventually it's going to like catch as the market increases and it's going to sell. So all of those things factor into it. So I know it's complex. I know it's like a little confusing, but again, TLDR, if you don't want to overcomplicate it, anywhere between 15 to 30% over market, and I think you're good. And then the priority becomes, hey, get acquiring more, because the more inventory you have, the more you are, the more that's going to sell, just because the size of your inventory will incentivize people to buy from you. This was kind of a longer yap sesh than I had originally intended, but hopefully this is helpful for you. Hopefully this helps you price cards on TCGplayer like a pro. If you have any questions or anything else I can help with when it comes to this topic, leave me a comment down below. I'd love to help you. But with that, thank you for being here. Jesus loves you. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.